A while back, my wife purchased a mold test kit to use on the rental house that we're currently renting. So the kit arrived at our house, and my wife proceeded to take these petri dishes, open them up, and put them in every single room in the house. Then you leave it there for about an hour, you close it back up, you seal it, and you put it in some closet in room temperature, and you leave it there for a couple of days up to a week. And to be honest, a few days later, even I was startled when I saw the results. You could see a bunch of different colorful molds starting to grow in these petri dishes. My initial thought is that we have a serious mold problem and this whole entire house is just one giant mold colony. But then when I saw that every single one of these dishes had some kind of a mold growing inside of it, I got some second thoughts. I started wondering, hey, I wonder if we put these dishes in every single house in this neighborhood, are they all gonna have some kind of a mold growth? And I had a suspicion that the answer would be yes. So I looked into this, I did some digging, I did some research, and here is what I found. The honest truth is that if you leave an open petri dish in any normal, perfectly healthy home on the planet, it will almost always grow some kind of colorful mold. This is what I found out about the gelatin-like substance called agar inside of these petri dishes. This gel is a highly aggressive, ultra-fertile nutrient broth. This petri dish is basically an absolutely perfect, unrealistic environment for fungus to thrive. It'll force even a single, harmless floating spore to multiply into a massive, scary-looking, colorful colony. But what we have to understand is that mold spores are a natural occurrence in Earth's ecosystem. This means that there's mold spores flying around me, even right now, inside the house, on my clothes. No matter how clean a house is, there's probably still gonna be some mold spores in there. It just means that your house has air. And to top it off, industry groups that study mold usually do not recommend these kind of kits because they cause unnecessary panic. So long story short, these dishes are actually designed to grow mold. So pretty much any house that you're gonna put it into, this thing is gonna sprout some fungus. And now let's come back to my wife. Later on, she found out that her rash was actually caused by her diet. So she needed to start taking some vitamins and avoid certain foods, and eventually that rash just went away. But in regard to mold, aside from these little petri dishes, in the professional inspection and HVAC world, mold is not judged by whether it exists in a home, because it always does. It's judged by the concentration, what kind of mold, and if there's moisture present. But these professional type of mold inspections tend to be pretty expensive, so if you wanted to, you could try the petri dishes, but what I would focus on is how fast they sprout spores. So for example, if in your guest bedroom, the spores showed up after 24 hours, but in the main bedroom, it took it a whole 3 or 4 days, then you know that most likely in the guest bedroom, you have more mold going on. Another thing I would do is to kind of cross-verify indoor and outdoor locations. So for example, if you're gonna test your living room, and right behind the slide door you have a deck, I would also put a petri dish outside on the deck. It only takes an hour. So you open up the dish, you leave it there for an hour, and then you seal it up. So I would put one there, and see what kind of a difference you get. If they're pretty much the same, then you know that most likely you're not actually having any mold problems in the living room. And the last and most important factor is if there's any moisture present in the room, because mold feeds on water. If you have some kind of a wet spot or a leak, mold is almost guaranteed to start to grow there. So if you get a petri dish that is just overflowing with all kinds of mold, it might be a good idea to investigate that room further and just check it everywhere to make sure that there's no wet spots. But if your house is dry and everybody feels okay, then these petri dishes are nothing more than just a colorful science experience. That being said, I do want to point out that I personally know some people that had some serious health issues because of mold. So I'm not trying to minimize the risk of having mold in the house, I'm just saying that these petri dishes are not very accurate. So don't burn down the house because the petri dishes sprouted some colorful mold. And if you have any mold stories of your own, we would love to hear about them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And for those of you that stayed all the way till the end of the video, I have some wisdom to share with you. Just remember that no matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's night. Sorry, that was a bad one. Let me give you another one. What do you call a psychic little person that escaped from jail? A small medium at large.